Hey, what's going on? Frankthaman here, barber and cosmetologist. I've been doing this for about 5 years now, so I'm pretty dope at what I do. And today, I'm gonna teach you how to do a French crop. Stick around, enjoy the ride, and let's get it. Alright guys, what it do, what's poppin'? So this is my little homie, this is my boy. He said he wanted a French crop, and he's looking about really hairy and scary right about now, and we're gonna go ahead and take care of him. The first thing we gotta do is go ahead and start brushing this damn thing out, because we both saw how it looked, and the worst thing we can do is try to cut hair that's super cringed up like that. So go ahead and just comb it out. Of course, add some water, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start with the perimeter. I'm gonna go ahead and just start taking off an inch. Notice I'm not really using a guideline. The reason why is because technically I'm taking an educated guess, if I'm being also real with you guys, but I'm taking an inch off. I've been doing this for a while now, so I'm pretty sure. You don't even have to be a barber or cosmo to know how much an inch is. That's basic mathematical skill, I guess, right? And just keep proceeding till you go all the way around the perimeter. Make sure the hair is damp as you're cutting with shears. And notice what I did, guys, in order to find my guideline. I went ahead and did an inch parting. And by parting, what that means is I grabbed the comb and I parted the hair. And I'm going to be doing this progressively to the front of his head, which would be the fringe area, the bang area. I'm going to continue parting it an inch forward. And what I'm doing is I'm pretty much finding a guideline and chopping off, I think in this case, like maybe 1.5 inches. And essentially what I'm doing is I parted an inch, and then I match it to the hair that I cut on the perimeter. And that's essentially how I know that this hair is going to be even all the way through. Because there's an inch all the way through the perimeter, and off the top of the apex of the head, all I'm doing is I'm matching it to the sides. And the reason why I do these 1 inch partings instead of just randomly grabbing hair is because, that's how I was taught, obviously, right? But it's super accurate, you guys. Like, if you ever cut with shears, and you have a hard time, I found that this is the easiest method of doing it. Notice I was only doing it on one side, and I went ahead and now I'm gonna go ahead and do it on the other side. And sometimes it's hard to reach over to the other side, so stop what you're doing and go on the other side. And notice here, I'm gonna find that guideline. There you go, which is a perimeter guideline that we did before we went ahead and started cutting the top. Pretty easy, right? Essentially what we did was pretty much just make this even all the way through so we can go ahead and start fading later. A lot of people focus on the fade first, but a crop, all it is a hairstyle. And before we do a crop, guys, we have to always go ahead and make sure that the top is perfect before we even start picking up the clippers to start fading. And right now what I'm doing is I'm adding texture. There's so many ways to add texture. You can slither, which is what you saw me doing right now. You could do what is called creative chaos, which is what I'm doing now. You twindle the hair between your fingers and you go up with the shears. Never fully close them, because if not you'll chop it off and you have a terrible boo-boo. And right now I'm grabbing the razor and a comb and I'm just adding texture. There's really no right or wrong way to add texture. People say some adds more, some adds less. Bro, I've literally done anything you can think of, and honestly it's all the same stuff to me. So, and look, now here's another method. And now I'm just playing with you, and I just kind of wanted to just add, this just I guess to prove, or rather to show you guys how many ways, different methods of texturizing there is. And I'm sorry if I sound funny. I just got braces yesterday, so yeah. Sorry that I sound this way, but I'm glad you clicked on this video and you're watching this now. After we went ahead and texturized it, and I'm gonna go ahead and blow dry his hair. Boom. Here comes the lineup, which is super important. And you have to do the lineup before you do anything. This is why you have to do the top first, then you have to go ahead and do the lineup. The lineup is essentially like the perimeter guideline, right? For the entire crop. The lineup is what makes the entire crop, rather with the texture, of course, but the lineup is what gives it that crop look. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about right now. We're lining them up to go ahead and start. This is going to be our guideline for the clipper over comb. We're creating a weight line with the clipper over comb, but our hairline is our guideline for this white line. Let me repeat that again. Our hairline, right, when we line them up, is our guideline for the white line that we're creating around the head to create that crop look. All right, just chopping off all this extra bulk. And if you can see there, I'm creating a weight line that matches his hairline, so we can go ahead and start fading. You understand me now? Right? That made sense, right? I hope it did. Another thing I do also when I create my first bald guideline, I never close the clipper all the way. And I never use a liner. And it baffles me that YouTubers are teaching you guys to create it with a damn trimmer. Like, it's so hard. I've been cutting hair for almost 6 years now. And dude, you know how hard it is to get that guideline out with the trimmer? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, 6 years in and you would think it's easier, but no, dude, it's so hard. It's just a hard line to get out of, so I never do it with a trimmer. And then when you are using your trimmer to go ahead and start balding them, I use it maybe half an inch under that first guideline, you know, so it could go ahead and progressively fade. And then after you've bulked somebody, guys, make sure you dust them off. You know, it's always that fresh feeling. Mind you, what you're giving them is an experience. So after you're cutting off that literal weight off of their shoulders, make sure you blow it off of them. It makes them feel good. Essentially, it's all an experience for the client. And now I picked up my handy dandy shavers, and I'm doing this an inch below that first initial bald guideline. And the reason why I'm doing that is because, again, almost 6 years cutting hair, and that bald guideline is still hard as hell to get out. So I make sure I do it exactly an inch below, not no more, not no less, an inch below that first initial guideline. And the reason why is because it's hard to take out. If you're struggling with that, it's because you're taking it up too close. Oh, why bring it up half an inch? We'll see. Bring it up maybe 1 inch below, and maybe you won't have to struggle anymore. And I'm going to show you the fastest and easiest way to fade this out right now. You see, and if you see here, it's an inch below that first initial guideline. Side to side, guys, that is the easiest way to take out this bald guideline. Side to side. Shout out to the homie Louis. He's a barber that works across from me at Icon Barbershop. Shout out to my man Louis V, right? The real geometry, the real angles. He taught me this technique, dude. You know, side to side. I grab the 1.5 close, and I'm bringing up 1 inch above that first initial guideline, which is a 0 guideline. And dude, I don't know what happened to my zero guideline, but it got all choppy. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. And now what I'm doing is I grab the 1.5 and I pulled the lever open, and I was fading out that guideline that I created. Now it's clipper over comb, holding it at a 30-degree angle, and I'm going ahead and just softening this up. Back with the 1.5 open, softening it up. Notice that weight guideline is a direct correlation to that hairline. Oh, and I grabbed the tool right now to soften it up a little bit more as well, if you've seen that just now. I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I don't fade. When I'm doing a fade with a lot of bulk on top, I don't even use a 3, 4, or 5 guard. I just go from a 0 to a 2 and a clipper over comb. Now I open up the lever, and from that first initial guideline, I'm creating a second guideline. And what I do is from the 0, I open up the lever and I create that second guideline half an inch above. I hate when clients do that. You know, when they put their head down, not so much for me, rather for them. I feel like it's a lot of strain on their neck, you know? And I'm always like, my man, you know, andarésate, you know, straighten up, you know, so your back doesn't hurt, you feel me? And all I'm doing now, guys, is from that first guideline to that second guideline is I'm doing what's called a trigger play. And that's a nice word that I love from my man E. Jones. And essentially from the zero guideline, from the first zero guideline to the second guideline, the lever is continuously dropping lower and lower and lower as you get to the 0.5, to the half guideline. And then it'll just fade right away. Right here I'm lining him up before I go ahead and start fading the entire thing off, because if I do fade everything out, I feel like you kind of lose that darkness around there, you know, around that area of the hair. All right, now that we're done with that side, right, you're gonna be able to see my steps a lot more clear here. Thanks for still, you know, watching, you guys. I appreciate you. You know, I'm glad you're not bored yet. Here we go. Boom. 1.5 all the way open, softening up that second guideline that I created originally with the 1.5 guard, right? If you guys remember. So I did it with a 1.5, and I went ahead and opened it and I softened it up, but now I'm softening up some more with the 2. Boom. Damn, that zero guideline is butchered. Why does it look like that? Now it's clipper over comb, right? Softening up more. And see, I like to go ahead and soften. I don't like to fade that first initial guideline first, because I always feel like I bring the fade up higher than I need to. So I always fade what's above that first guideline first. Don't worry, I'm gonna finish it. Don't worry. Now that first guideline, I went ahead and opened the lever all the way through, right? 0 with no guard on, and I created a second guideline. And now I hit it with a 1. I hit the second guideline with the 1, and I'm softening it up. And it's gonna fade right into 1.5, which was what we used to create earlier. Excuse me. Boom. Trigger play. Right? Trigger play. Looking for any darkness and light. And that's a metaphor you could use for life. You know, if there's darkness and light, it needs to go away. And that's what we're doing here. Using our corners to make sure that we fade all of this out. Back with the 1.5. Touch of the back, which is always the hardest for me. Don't understand why. Probably because the hair is more dense. I heard someone in the comments say one time before. Boom, softening this up. Before we take out that first guideline at the bottom. I hit it with the 2, now I'm hitting it with the 1.5. Right, here's my second guideline I'm creating. Gonna get rid of that first guideline there. Boom. Now I don't want you to confuse it. There's 3 guidelines right there right now. It's the shaver guideline, the first initial guideline, and then the third guideline right now is what I used to create a 0.5, which a half. I opened it up. I opened the lever up, and now I'm hitting it with the 1 to soften it up. You see how it's just effortlessly blending into the top there, to the 1.5 into the 2. That way you never bring your fade higher than what you need to, you know? Because I used to fade like that, where I would go ahead and create that zero guide and then initially just first start fading it out. But then my mid fades kind of look like high fades, you feel me? But now my mid fades look exactly like mid fades, and I'm really proud of myself, you know? And the back here, you guys, as you know, is always tricky. You know, it's always tricky. You know, so I'm using a lot of corner work here, making sure I'm fading all of that out. Pretty sure I go back in with, there you go, there it is. I grab the shaver and I'm going side to side. Then I grab my trimmer to take out any guidelines that are there, any darkness that's there, and boom, I banged it out. Now we grab our trimmer, and I'm using a Wall Hero, by the way, which I love. They already come zero gap, and all I'm doing is I'm cleaning that up as well too. Boom, boom, making sure it's real nice and sharp. Boom, now some more clipper over comb. Mind you, the clipper over comb is critical because you're essentially shaping this haircut to his specific head. And I know I already cleaned them up before, but I go ahead and make sure I do it again. I comb the hair down a little bit and then I go ahead and do it again. And now I'm hitting it with the razor. Drying it up, you know. Now you can actually see the texture here. You know, the camera was a little far back when I originally did the texture, but now you can see it a little bit more. And what I like about the crop is that there's just so many ways to style it, right? Like you can add this product. And then what's really important, by the way, if you see, the front isn't really styled, it's the top. You want to leave your bang area, you want to leave it alone, because essentially that's what kind of makes the crop, you know, that gives it that look. And I'm using this special comb, which I'm sure you've seen a lot of people have. It's really effective. Got it for like $2 at Sally's. And essentially, now that I comb this hair, I'm gonna go ahead and line them up one more time. Make sure it's solid, right? Boom, you guys. Well, that is our tutorial. My man came in hairy and scary, walked out feeling a whole different type of way. You feel me? It's looking fly. I personally like the way I styled it, but I know that's not his style, so I went ahead and just did it down, you know? His grandmama came through. She said something, I forgot what she said, but she was digging it. Oh no, she said, ¿A poco ya terminaste? No, rebájalo un poco. There you go. She said something like that. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is Frankthaman. Make sure to subscribe, and most importantly, thank you for joining me on this journey of becoming a barber god. And Barber Gods is a movement that represents barbers in the elite highest level of barbering and anyone on the journey to become that. Thank you once again. Have a blessed day. Peace.